Jay here, Stretford, Paddock, and this is the Europa League semi-final second leg against Roma preview.
Yep.
Joining me, as always, is my good friend, colleague, and occasional badminton partner.
You'll pardon the expression.
Joe Smith. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm right, mate. I'm a bit tired. I'm a tired little soldier after all the excursions over the weekend of standing up for 6 hours. I'm not used to it, but it was worth it because, you know, we made an impact, we made a statement, just as Manchester United are going to do in the second leg of this Europa League semi-final clash. Bit of a weird one because we're basically through, aren't we? I mean, even the negative Nellies amongst us can't think we're going to throw away a 4-goal lead against an abject Roma side.
I saw some people on Twitter going, you know what, let's just do a weekend team for the second leg. The tie's over, United are 4 goals up. We're not going to blow a 4-0 lead. And someone replied saying, well, I think if it was 7-2, that'd be tie over, but 6-2, I think United need to take it seriously next week. And obviously they need to take it seriously. This is a game of football. If we lose by 4 goals, I'll eat this tablecloth.
He will as well.
I'll put this in my mouth.
He will, right? He will do that.
Yeah, and it'll come out my arse like a magician pulling hankies out his sleeve. And you can pull it out.
That's an image that I
so
don't want to get
if that happens, it's game over.
Right, okay.
This tablecloth right here.
Yeah.
United are through.
Okay.
Barring, unless we played me and you and a couple of lads who were on the pitch yesterday or the other day.
Even then, one of them looks all right.
Yeah, one of them's got a bicycle kick on him, hasn't he?
Mate, I tell you what, we'll stick him up front, he might get a goal.
Yeah, exactly. Unless it's them lot playing, I think we'll be fine here.
It'd have to be like one of the worst nights in the history of Manchester United Football Club.
It would be the worst European night.
Yeah, in terms of games, it'd be like the worst night we've ever had. And I just can't see it happening. It's not just that, we have this 4-goal cushion and Manchester United obviously played very well in the first leg. It's that Roma weren't very good and, are okay, but they're not exactly one of the cream or the elite teams in Europe. One player who didn't play and who hasn't featured a lot in terms of starts anyway, I know he's featured off the bench, but he hasn't had a lot of starts, is Donny van de Beek. And he seems to be like the golden boy for social media people who, whenever he's not in the team, seem to lose their minds a little bit and are questioning whether he should have even signed for us. Where do you stand on that? Because, well, 2 questions. One, do you think he's going to start for this game because he's not started many games? And the second part of that question is, do you think he should have had more appearances for Manchester United Football Club?
I think he will start. I think if there's ever a game to start him, this is it. The tie's as good as one. He's a very competent player, very good player. I think he'll start, and he's not likely to start against Villa on the weekend, so I'm pretty sure he will start tomorrow night. It's Thursday night. The only thing is, I just think, why isn't he starting? And I know that it's almost like sort of reverse engineering a point by using evidence that we have, but that's all we have. The evidence we have is Ole doesn't start him. So why doesn't he start him? Does he not think he's good enough? Does he not think the balance works with him and our other midfielders? Does he not think he's fit enough? Why isn't he starting him? Because he doesn't play badly when he plays, and sometimes he plays anywhere from, he looked a bit tired quite quickly to he was really good today. That's generally his thing. He's never like, fucking hell, Donny gave the ball away loads and he was proper shit today. It's rare that we get that out of him. So I don't know. I want to know why he doesn't start more. He's still made, near 30 appearances this season. So it's not as though he doesn't get time on the pitch. Obviously, a lot of those are a substitute, so he doesn't get tons of minutes. But I think he will start on Thursday. I think he is a good player, and he's one of those players, and a lot of people on Twitter point this out, sometimes to a kind of a degree of look at me, look what I notice about football degree. But he is very good off the ball. He is very good at influencing play without even touching the ball. His runs that he makes, and similar to, people might laugh at this as a comparison, but Jesse Lingard was brilliant at that. Jesse Lingard used to open up play by his crossfield runs, and he's trying to get in behind. He would make space for the strikers, make space for the wingers by dragging defenders out of the way, by taking people out of position. And Donny van de Beek's very good at that. His off-the-ball work is very good. And I think that would work well against Roma. I think if he's ever going to start, surely this is the game for it.
Well, you'd think so. We'll have to see what we've said in our predicted 11s before we get into all that. One player who has been a sort of the opposite almost of Donny van de Beek in the sense that he's been getting much more playing time recently. He's been scoring lots of goals as well of late, which we know he's capable of doing. That's Mason Greenwood. You can see there 6 goal contributions in 7 games, 5 goals and 1 assist. I mean, we always know he's an immense talent. He had a little bit of a ropey start to the season. We know he had a lot going on off the pitch. So we can understand that. But he certainly seems to have found his stride recently.
Yeah, he did the same thing last season, didn't he? After we came back from COVID, starting with that Tottenham game and then working his way through to the end of the season, he was really good.
Yeah,
and that's where he steps on from being on about 10 or 11 goals to getting, was it 17 in the end?
I think 19 he finished on. 19. I think he finished just under in all competitions. I'm pretty sure. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he finished just one less than the benchmark of 20.
Yeah, so he did a lot of work in the final few weeks of the season. Like I said, there 6 contributions in 7 games. I think it's 6 goals in 8 games as well.
Oh, is it? Okay, that's even better.
That was just a bit of quick research I did before this, so excuse me if that's wrong. Either way, I'm sure that stat is correct as well. But he's doing it at the right end of the season, and he's putting a little run together where you if you're Gareth Southgate, you kind of go, this guy might go to the Euros.
He should go to the Euros, shouldn't he?
I think he should, yeah. He's the sort of guy that can play multiple positions, is one of the best finishers in the squad. I'd say right up there with Harry Kane in that England squad. Obviously, he's not a complete all-round striker the way Kane has become. But if you need a goal, I'd rather bring Greenwood onto that pitch than Sterling or than Calvert-Lewin, who I think is a good player, but in terms of conversion rate and the ability to create chances for himself, he can go past a man, he can put the ball in the net with either foot, and his positioning is excellent. So I'm really happy that he's pushing this late season run. I think it's 10 goals he's got now in all competitions as well, which I know 20 is the benchmark, but 10 is one of those kind of like, that's your bottom level of not the worst season.
Yeah.
10 double-digit goals for a 19-year-old. If it was anyone other than Mason Greenwood, you'd be saying what a great year he's had, but he's set his own standards so high and the expectations are so high for him, it almost seems as though he's gone backwards. But very difficult in your second season. People start to know your traits and your tendencies, and he wants to do the step over and go onto his left. And people kind of know that a bit more now, and also he's had a lot of off-the-field things that we spoke about before. So, yeah, I think he's shown what talent he's got and how good he can be, and I think he can be a massive difference and a main reason we might get a trophy this season. Yeah,
I agree with what you're saying, and he deserves this end to the season because, like I said, he'd been through the mill early on in the season. I know he lost a friend that was close to him. The English press had hammered him as well. Gareth Southgate completely threw him under the bus. I think it was bang out of order the way he handled the whole situation, not just with when he broke those rules, but also putting him up for an interview to answer questions about Harry Maguire's time in Mykonos.
And also,
what the
let's not forget
your first sort of England presser. Are you stupid? What, Gareth Southgate?
Some of the other accusations that were thrown at him.
Yeah, there's nothing to do with him. It was nothing gathering speed on social media.
But social media was whipping around. I'm not going to go into the details of that, but pretty much as vile an accusation as could be thrown at someone was basically being pointed at him for 24, 48 hours until it was revealed he was nothing to do with it. So there was all sorts going on where it's like, if there's any problem, let's start with Mason Greenwood being the culprit and then work our way backwards. So there was it was a really tough time for him at the start of the season, and I know that nothing came of that accusation and nothing came of those rumours.
It's not the point, is it?
Go
For
on
48 hours,
Twitter,
he had to live with it.
Go on Twitter and see you're being accused of essentially as bad a crime as you could be accused of. Must have been horrific for him. So yeah, I'm really happy for him, and I'm happy for United as well because we've got a great player and a great talent.
No, completely agree with all that, as I'm sure every United fan must do. We all love Mason Greenwood, innit? Hey, come on, we love him. It's dynamite. With all that being said, then is you do right? Here we go. Are you doing predicted or preferred?
This is my predicted 11.
All right, so this is who you think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer
Change my ways.
will pick for the trip to Rome. So we can have a look here. You can talk us through it if we put the graphic on the screen. There you go.
So De Gea picks himself at this point.
Wan-Bissaka, he's the Europa League man, isn't he?
Yeah, Wan-Bissaka, I think the same. I know Brandon Williams is there or thereabouts, but he just doesn't seem to ever play him, does he?
No.
I've gone with Eric Bailly, who reportedly, hopefully, is still fit.
Yep.
Harry Maguire, again, pretty much an ever-present at this point. And I think with Lindelof's sort of ongoing back issue, I think the chance to rest one of them, it will pick Lindelof over Maguire in terms of resting one. Alex Telles, might as well give Luke Shaw a rest again. Telles is a more than adequate replacement and understudy and alternative to Luke Shaw. And then midfield, I have put Van der Beek in for the reasons I mentioned earlier. Ooh. He's got to start at some point. He deserves to start as well because, like I said, he's never shit. Sometimes he's a little bit ineffectual, but sometimes he's brilliant. I don't think it's fair on him that he just never gets to start any games just because he doesn't always work with our other midfielders. Same goes for Matic, really, who has a slightly lower floor than Van der Beek, but perhaps at a slightly higher ceiling as well. He can be sensational at times, Nemanja Matic, but those days seem to be fewer and farther between, don't they? And then a front four, again, this is one of those ones where I was really struggling with who to put in here, but I think Cavani will get a rest, so I'm sort of working my way backwards from that. Because Cavani don't play 3 games in a week, and we still don't know when that Liverpool game's going to be. So that could be next week, that could be tomorrow night or tonight, or, who knows what's going on with that Liverpool game. So I've arrested Cavani, therefore Greenwood is going up front. So then I think Pogba maybe could do with the rest as well, so therefore Bruno's playing. Right. Although Bruno could do with the rest, but he tends to rest Pogba more than he rests Bruno. So then he's in. And then Rashford on the left-hand side and Dan James on the right, because that's basically all we've got left to fill those places after Pogba and Cavani have been rested, which I think they will be. There's my team. Hopefully Marcus Rashford gets a rest, and I'd like to see Pogba in on that left-hand side ahead of Rashford. And again, though, maybe we could see McTominay playing with Matic and Bruno getting a rest as well with Van der Beek in there. I'd like to see Rashford and Bruno get a rest, but that's what I think Ole will go for, because he likes to go with strong sides. We were all surprised at how strong the team in the second leg of the Sociedad game was. So I think it'll be something like that.
No, it's a good, strong team, especially that sort of front four as well.
Yeah.
Dan James has been decent, actually, the last sort of couple of months. People sort of... he became an easy target for people to criticise. And then it's still gone the other way, where now people are saying he's our best attacker, which is obviously nonsense. But it's somewhere in between. He's playing well. Mason Greenwood, obviously, we've spoken about him. Bruno, Marcus, always capable of getting you a goal. And I think that team, would have far too much for Roma, as we've already seen in the first leg. Defensively, they're all over the gaff. My team isn't that dissimilar. If you can bring up my team, we can have a look at that. So you can see there, back five, I've got Axel in instead of Eric Bailly. Same things as you said, same reasons you've said with De Gea and Maguire starting. I've gone with Fred and Matic. Again, Matic looks like this is a game tailor-made for him to come in for. We've got a 4-goal cushion. He can still do a job. I know he's not been great this season, but there's no reason why I can't. Why are you sniggering there?
Every time we say 4-goal cushion, I think foregone conclusion. Then I think 4-goal conclusion.
Brent, yeah. Were we successful?
Yeah.
Well, we fronted for a little band called Texas. I've gone for a front four of Dan James on the left. We've already spoken about him. He actually, I think, prefers playing on the left. He just doesn't. He does play there sometimes.
He just tells you that on text, doesn't he?
He messages me. Actually, he doesn't tell me on text. He writes it on bits of paper and posts it through my letterbox. Old school. It's a bit weird like that. I don't know why.
He writes it on a piece of paper and then flushes it down the toilet, and then you sit in
the
drains.
I sift through his drains to find out that he likes playing on the left-hand side of Manchester United's attack. I've gone with Bruno because... I like you. I think it's either one of Bruno or Pogba who's going to get rested. So I've gone with Bruno to start. I also think you do need a slightly decent team just to sort of not just win the tie, because I think we'll go for it, but you don't want it to be embarrassing. You don't want it to be like, oh, we went to Rome and lost 2-0, but we went through anyway, because that's not really a good sort of...
It's not a big sort of leg up for the final.
Yeah, exactly.
Or even for the game of the weekend.
Yeah, you want a positive result. And also, some of these players might want games as well, because they missed out on the Liverpool game. We don't know when that's going to be. So they might have gone a week without a game. They might be like, I'm sort of chomping at the bit, and Bruno strikes me as that sort of player. I've put Amad Diallo on the right. I feel like a youngster somewhere is going to feature.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's sort of made in it for one of the younger lads to get a game. And Diallo's obviously played in this competition before and scored, so it wouldn't surprise me if he got the nod. And I've gone with Mason Greenwood up front for the reasons that we've spoke about earlier on. So again, similar, nice bit of mix. We've both gone for a mix of youth and experience there. And Ollie does have a bit of a squad, doesn't he? So he can mix up a little bit. And that's what I've gone for. So get involved as well. Let us know your predicted 11s and let us know what you think of ours. Looking at Roma, I mean, we got a bit of stick, me and you. I think it was me and you last time. Was it me and you on the Roma preview? Yeah. And it was like people going, oh, you're so sort of negative and disparaging of Serie A. And because we said, oh, Roma are 7th in Serie A, which basically means they're not very good and they're probably going to lose 6-2. And here we are. We were right. All right, we might not have said the 6-2 bit, but we sort of said they weren't very good. You can see the form there. I mean, it's nothing to shout home about there, is it? 1 draw and 4 losses. I mean, it's pretty bad.
We proved ourselves right, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean,
we were proved right.
This isn't a great team. It's not even a great Roma team. There's been better Roma teams than this. This isn't like Totti's Roma.
No.
So, I mean, do you expect a lot from this team? Do you think it will be different because they're not even at home, are they? Are they at home? Yeah, but I mean, like, but not got fans there, have they?
No.
So it's not like
I could see a draw. I mean, they're not going to win 4-0.
no.
I mean, I'll be so stunned, so unbelievably stunned if they won 4-0. I know they they won 3-0 at home against, or 4-0 at home against Barcelona that time, but that was a different team and Barcelona that were going through a bit of a sketchy period. I think United are more solid than that Barcelona team were. I know that's ridiculous to say.
No, it's not. It's a point.
Yeah, it's Barcelona have got some mental fragilities and they were going through a tough time, which I think United, we don't. I mean, the 6-1 against Tottenham is an outlier, but we don't tend to concede 4 goals in any game.
No, we don't.
So I think it'll be very difficult for them to go through this tie. Imagine if they did. I guess that's what it comes down to, isn't it? Imagine if Roma got 4. Is there any way you think they can do that?
No. And also, I mean, we spoke about him during the watch along quite a lot because his name kept coming up, and that's Mike Smalling, who, listen, I quite like Chris Smalling. I think that he had a decent United career. I always feel like he was a bit of an in-betweener. He wasn't good enough for, he was sort of good enough to be a backup under Sir Alex, but not good enough to be first choice once Sir Alex retired and the likes of Rio and Vidic moved on. He just sort of was in that little grey area in between. Had a bit of a stinker at Old Trafford.
Just a bit.
Was it like a couple of goals? He played on people on side and gave away a penalty.
Do you know the people who talk about Maguire and stuff? Yeah. And say, I would have kept Smalling for free than have Maguire.
That's just a I know people say it, but
Harry
stupid.
Maguire has never had a game for United as bad as Smalling had against United last week.
No.
Gave away a penalty, kept us onside twice for 1 goal. Couldn't track his man when Cavani got the ball, played to his feet. He then plays it back, and the ball goes in, and we score from it. That ball went through from Pogba to Cavani, and Cavani just stood with each defender 5 yards that way, another one 5 yards that way, in complete space on the last line. And then the whole rest of the time, Smalling's like catching up with himself, trying to catch up with play, never gets his positioning right. Essentially, gives us a goal. He was just a bit of a shambles, really. And just his positioning was terrible. He didn't do anything on the ball. He didn't really win the ball very much. I think he was a little bit unlucky with the penalty he gave away, but it was a clumsy tackle and he didn't get the ball.
And it seemed like one he didn't need to make as well.
Exactly.
He's on the touchline, he's not going anywhere.
No, and the ball went past him. The ball's gone. The ball went past everyone.
Again.
So it's just any suggestion. I don't want to knock Chris Smalling. He seems like a good bloke. He seems like a nice guy. I'm happy he's doing well in Italy for them. But any suggestion that he would have had a future or he would have been a first choice player at United is just people living in a fantasy land where it's like, why do we get rid of it? Like this, I honestly think the same with Johnny Evans. I like Johnny Evans, and I think maybe he's a bit more composed than Chris Smalling. He's certainly more composed than Chris Smalling. Johnny Evans wouldn't get in our first team.
The thing with Johnny Evans
isn't better than Lindelof or Maguire.
No, I know Johnny Evans fell off a cliff under Van Gaal.
Yeah,
he was so bad. It was like, and I love Johnny Evans, but I remember one game at Stoke in particular where, and he just looked like he'd won a competition to play for Manchester United Football Club, and it was amazing because he used to find danger where there wasn't any. Yeah. Like he'd get the ball in space, there'd be no attackers around him, he'd just, he'd lose it or whatever. Wasn't working for him, and now, however many years, 8 years later or whatever it's been, or a bit longer, about that time, and it's 7 years or whatever, he's doing well. So I know Johnny Evans has had a good career since he left United, but I understand where you're coming from, and don't shoot me, Adam McCall, who absolutely loves Johnny Evans. With all that being said then, what's your predicted score?
I can't see there being the same intensity and sort of fervour and aggression for goals as there was in the last one.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll have that cutthroat, let's go again, let's
go
again.
You can see there from the graphic, the results we've had against Roma are pretty emphatic, aren't they?
Pretty emphatic, yeah. And there's also a 7.
Well,
a 7-1
emphatic actually. Well. 3 of them are just solid, and there's one emphatic one.
Well, there's a 7-1
in 7-1 on. Sorry, that's why I said that. I thought the
7-1
was on there.
For the sake of a friendly, in competitive fixtures, the 7-1 would be on there, I think.
No, we've moved on along. Moved one along now.
The 7-1 was the one before that. Then.
So we've got a good result, sort of historical results against Roma.
I reckon it's going to be tighter. Like I said, I can't see that same aggression, and I think we kind of know the tie's over. They kind of know the tie. I mean, if they're 2-0 up at half time, we might have some problems on our hands, but I think it's going to be tight. I could see them sneaking it 2-1, but I think it'll be a little bit more languid, a bit slower. United will get a goal and basically put the tie to bed. Like, if we get a goal, they ain't getting 5. So I'm going to go 1-1.
1-1. Yeah. I think Roma will come at us because they've got to. That's their only hope,
as well.
is to try and get an early goal, and I think that could work with us, especially if we've got the pace of whether it's Dan James, whether it's Marcus Rashford, whether it's Mason Greenwood, whether it is Amad Diallo. Any of those players start, they're going to be, absolutely rapid. So I think we might get another win, another score win. I'll go with 4-2 to United. I think they're going to leave gaps, and you might see Chris Smalling in all sorts of trouble. Listen, I'd like us to win, but Chris Smalling not have a stinker, because I still have a little bit of a soft spot for him, and I think he was slightly hard done by in the way some United fans spoke about him, but we'll see. The main thing is United just get through, because we want to get through to the final under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Do you know the Sociedad game when they were 4-0 down? They didn't really come and try and batter us, did they?
No,
it's weird, wasn't it?
It's like they give up already before the ball was kicked. And I think as well, some of it comes down to quality.
Yeah.
Like, have you got the quality to go out there and win 5-0?
Yeah.
Like, genuinely. Like, you must know as a player and look around his dressing room and go, we ain't going to fucking win this 5-0.
No.
He's not good enough to score.
No.
He's been crap this season. he had a stinker last week.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, are you going to go in and go, we can do this? Do you know, like with the Scousers, Barcelona, I hate to use them as an example.
Yeah.
But there was that sort of belief onto that season, like if they got an early goal, as just as not even, I was going to say as an objective fan, but I wasn't. I was supporting Barcelona that night.
Yeah.
But you could look at it and go, this ain't vintage Barcelona.
No.
Liverpool are flying. They've got goals in them.
Yeah, they've scored tons of goals, weren't they?
I don't think Roma are going to go into this thinking, do you know what? We can do this. We can get an early goal. I even think they could get an early goal and still not kick on.
Yeah.
So we'll wait and see anyway. Get involved, comments. Let us know. Don't forget to send in your match day predictions. Where are they sending it to?
PaddockMatchday@gmail.com. It's been on the ticker at the bottom of the video there. It should come across in just a moment. So make sure you send them in 30 seconds. Put it to your phone. I think United are going to win 2-1. Landscape. Yeah. Nice. And then send it to PaddockMatchday@gmail.com and you'll be featured on the watch along. You'll just sit here, get your score prediction to PaddockMatchday@gmail.com. But again, I've said it 3 times now, so you should know.
I think you've said it, the perfect amount of times. So well done. There it is. Joe, where can people find you?
Joe Smith 93 on Twitter and on Instagram.
Go and check him out. He's always doing all that good stuff on socials. You know where to find me, Jay Motte. Don't forget as well to check us out for the watch along. We'll have Joe, we'll have McCullough, you'll have Freddie Quinn will be here, because that will be the time when Manchester United get to their first final under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So you want to be there. You want to be watching it, watching us, watching it with you. Don't forget as well to hit like, share, and subscribe. This has been Stretford Paddock Roma Preview. Thanks for watching.